It's Friday and time for our life coach, Dieter Powles, who's here every Friday. How you doing, Dieter?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine. You know, it's easy, as you say, to let other people shape our lives and to let associations determine our direction. And this is especially important when dealing with so-called toxic people.
Toxic people.
Yeah. Go ahead. What are they?
How do you recognize them?
I know how I recognize them.
They have a little sign on their forehead.
No, but I think you brought up this point, and it's so true. If you are around someone who is so-called toxic, they do drain your energy, don't they?
They drain your energy, absolutely.
Because you're always trying to, accommodate yourself, right?
It's a feeling, I think, when you're around these people, you don't like who you're being around them.
Right.
You're uneasy, you are uncomfortable.
I'm going to tell you to hold your thought and tell you to turn your mic on.
Okay.
Got it? Okay. That was a toxic moment.
Whoops. There we go.
Anyway, they do drain your energy,
Yeah.
and I know that it's you don't feel like you are authentic, like you are yourself around them,
Absolutely, yeah.
because they have a powerful personality.
Some people say, well, they suck the life out of you, they drain your energy, you might start.
Yeah. Working on the mic again.
We're marking the mic. Yeah, this is great. The mic
Okay,
is not
you're
working.
good. Now I think you're fine.
It's not working.
Can you hear Dieter? We're good. Yeah, they
You're
tell
good?
us we're good in the control
Wonderful.
room.
Okay.
Love this, don't you?
That is great. Live TV for you, huh?
Yeah, there
Whoa.
you go. It can be toxic at times. So back to it. Dieter. This toxic situation has taken over. Anyway, I know that what happens is when you're around someone, or I think what happens, that is very toxic, that doesn't really care about your feelings, that it seems like you have to always, as I was saying, accommodate them and make them feel relaxed because you feel so uncomfortable.
There are a couple of things we can do, I believe, with toxic people. Is we can disassociate with them, which is sometimes difficult because they're part of your work environment.
Yeah.
They're part of your family, and you can just say, hey, I'm going to disassociate with them. Now remember that one of the reasons I found people leave jobs and careers is because of toxic relationships at work.
Right.
So it's important that we learn how to deal with these relationships in a more efficient way.
Which is a reality, that you're going to run across these people,
Yeah.
and you are going to be in a situation where you have to work around them and function. So you have to really figure out, how do you diffuse it?
When you're around these people, you can change your behavior, you can change the conversation. If sometimes they bring up a certain topic, you can change the topic of conversation and move something else. But are we learning something from that? Maybe not. It's a good question to ask yourself, if I'm being this way around this person, what does that say about me? What can I learn? How can I maybe create more solid boundaries around these people? Because if they drain your energy, it means there are holes in your so-called boundaries.
Right.
So what are these holes?
That is the operative word, boundaries. You need to put up boundaries when you're dealing with someone that provokes emotion in you that you don't like, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes, as you mentioned, it's a family member. So what do you do? And especially in the old mother-in-law case. Not me, but I'm saying.
Yeah.
There are a lot of cases where people don't get along with their mother-in-law, and there's been, the joke for centuries about that. But
sometimes we retain the relationship because of a higher value. Like if family is really important to you, you're not going to divorce your wife because you can't stand your mother-in-law.
Right.
So it really comes down to how do you deal with it in a healthy way that's good for you. Because ultimately, the quality of your life is highly determined by the quality of the people that you surround yourself with.
Right. And, it's easy to say, well, I'll just disassociate. But that's sometimes a lot easier said than done. And you really have to think that one over before you decide you're going to do it.
Ask yourself, what's the payoff for me? What's the cost? And if it's worth it, then I would say make a clean break with people and tell them. Be honest in your approach. Sometimes we don't say anything. We just avoid the conversation. Like you said before, we're on the air. If you can speak the truth, say, when you do this, when you talk about that, here's how I feel.
Right. So just get down to the truth, because that in itself will speak for itself about, hey, this is why this relationship doesn't seem to work. And if you don't agree with that, or you don't think, you can't own any of it, that some of it is you, then maybe we just need to...
That's a key word. We own part of it. In a relationship, always two people. And we have an influence on the dynamic of the relationship. Sometimes we forget that and say, oh, it's all theirs, their fault. It's part of us too.
Right. And if you, finally, if you compromise and decide, well, I'll just continue, changing the way that I respond to this person, then you aren't being who you really are. And that is the big key, that if you're uncomfortable and it's always something that you're trying to make up for or to be savvy to try and smooth the situation, then is it really worth it?
Always look for the opportunity in the problem.
Right. Oh, good point.
And see if we can learn something from that and move on.
Okay, well, we learned something from this, hopefully, right?
Me too, from the mic today.
Welcome to Live TV. Thanks, Dieter. And he joins us every Friday, as you know, and you can access Dieter on our website at kplr11.com. Coming up, we'll talk about employee morale and see if your office needs a little boost.